Hey everyone, I'm working to hit 1,000 subscribers, and I need your help to get there. If you enjoy this content, please hit that subscribe button right now.
What's going on, Blue Jays fans? Before we dive into everything happening around the league, let me ask you this. Is Ross Atkins about to make a move that changes everything, or are we sitting on our hands while division rivals load up for another playoff run? Stay with me, because what I'm about to break down could completely shift how you view this entire offseason. Make sure you smash that subscribe button because we're covering every Blue Jays development as it happens, and the next few days could be absolutely massive. All right, let's get right into it because while things have been a bit quiet on the Blue Jays front specifically, there's a ton happening around baseball that directly impacts Toronto. We're seeing division rivals making aggressive moves, free agents starting to come off the board, and the pitching market heating up in ways we haven't seen in years. So let's break down what's happening, what it means for the Jays, and where this team needs to go from here. First, let's talk about the pitching market because it's absolutely wild right now. The top arms still available are Framber Valdez, Ranger Suarez, and Michael King. And guess who's in on all of them? The Yankees, Red Sox, and Orioles. Our division rivals are circling these guys like sharks, and the reality is at least one of them is probably going to land in the AL East. That makes things even harder for Toronto because you're not just competing against these teams on the field, you're competing with them in free agency too. Here's what's fascinating. Usually by this point in the offseason, we've seen several big pitching signings already, but this year, teams are being cautious. Pitching is the ultimate commodity right now. Everyone needs it, and there just aren't enough quality arms to go around. Behind those top three, you've got guys like Lucas Giolito, Zach Greinke, if he decides to keep playing, Brandon Woodruff coming off injury, Zach Eflin, and former Blue Jay Chris Bassett. And speaking of Bassett, I've got to throw this out there. What if the Blue Jays brought him back as a swing guy? Someone who can eat innings, jump into the rotation if someone gets hurt, or even work out of the bullpen in high leverage spots. We saw what he could do at the end of last season in the postseason coming out of the pen. His pitch mix is ridiculous, and having that kind of versatility could be huge. Just a thought, but I'd love to see it happen. Now let's talk about what our rivals are doing because it matters. The Red Sox already grabbed Corbin Burnes earlier this offseason, along with some bullpen help. They've got Garrett Crochet and Brian Bello at the top of their rotation, but they're not done. They want one more arm to solidify things. The Yankees are banking on Garrett Cole bouncing back healthy, plus they've got Max Fried and Carlos Rodon. They'll probably fill out the rotation with young guys like Luis Gil, but they're sniffing around these top free agents too. And then there's the Orioles, who just made a massive splash by signing Pete Alonzo. They're not messing around anymore. After a rough year last season, they're making sure they're not left behind. Putting Alonzo behind Gunnar Henderson in that lineup, that's terrifying for opposing pitchers. And now they're pushing hard for starting pitching too. Oh, and here's a curveball. The Yankees are apparently in on Kyle Tucker now. So the Blue Jays, who've been rumored to have interest in Tucker, suddenly have even more competition beyond just the Dodgers. Tucker would be an incredible addition to this lineup, but the asking price is going to be steep, and the Yankees have the prospect capital to make a real push. And that's something Toronto needs to be aware of as they navigate their own offseason plans. Speaking of the Blue Jays' plans, let's talk about Bo Bichette. There's been so much speculation about his future, and yesterday we might have gotten one team out of the running. The Atlanta Braves signed Yasan Kim to a one-year, $20 million deal, and he's projected to be their starting shortstop. That probably means the Braves are out on Bo. Now, I'm never going to completely count Alex Anthopoulos out. That guy is sneaky, and he's pulled off moves nobody saw coming before. He could theoretically sign Kim for 1 year and still go after Bo on a long-term deal. But realistically, the Braves are probably done at shortstop, and that's good news for the Blue Jays. Bo's market is shrinking. There just aren't that many teams out there looking for an everyday shortstop who are willing to commit the kind of money and years Bo is going to command. If he comes back to Toronto, he's the everyday shortstop, no questions asked. The front office has been saying all the right things. Ross Atkins, Mark Shapiro, even ownership has talked about wanting Bo back, about how important he is to this team and this organization. But Blue Jays fans have heard talk before. We want action. Show us you're serious. Get the deal done. bring Bo back and lock him up long term so we can move forward and build around him, Vladdy, and the rest of this core. Now, here's where things get really interesting. There's a trade rumor brewing that I think could have legs. Ketel Marte, he's been linked to the Blue Jays and the Mets for a while now, and apparently he's willing to waive his no-trade clause for a lot of teams. But get this, the Yankees are on his no-trade list. He will not go to New York. Also on that list, the A's, Pirates, Cardinals, and Giants. So if any of those teams want him, he'd have to agree to waive it, and it doesn't sound like that's happening. The Mets and Blue Jays have been connected to Marty for weeks now. My guy Matt at Jays Journal has been all over this story, and honestly, I think he wants Ketel Marte in a Blue Jays uniform more than anyone. And look, I get it. Marty is a proven veteran who can play multiple positions, hits for average and power, and would instantly upgrade this lineup. The problem? We've got an embarrassment of riches in the outfield and middle infield already, plus a deep farm system. So what would it take to get Marte? Probably a package built around a major league ready player who can help Arizona right now. Someone like Jonathan Klass or Davis Schneider, plus maybe a prospect or two. You've got to give up something to get something, and the Diamondbacks aren't just going to hand over Marte for nothing. But here's the thing. If the Blue Jays are serious about competing in 2025, adding a player like Marte makes a ton of sense. He gives you depth, he gives you experience, and he gives you another bat that can do damage in the middle of the lineup. Pairing him with Bo, Vladdy, and the rest of this core would be huge. The question is whether Ross Atkins pulls the trigger and makes the move. We've seen the Jays be cautious in the past, and sometimes that caution costs them. This might be a time where they need to be aggressive. So let me ask you this. Who do you think lands first? Do you think the Blue Jays sign Bo Bichette before Christmas? Do you think they pull off a trade for Ketel Marte? Or do you think we're sitting here in January still waiting for something to happen? My gut says Bo gets signed before the holidays. I think ownership knows how bad it would look to head into the new year without locking up one of the faces of the franchise. But I've been wrong before, and the Blue Jays have surprised us in both good and bad ways over the years. What I do know is this. The AL East is loading up. The Orioles added Alonzo. The Red Sox have Burns. The Yankees are always in the mix. If Toronto wants to compete, they can't afford to sit back and hope things work out. They've got the pieces. They've got the prospects. They've got the payroll flexibility. Now it's time to use it. Get Bo signed. Make a move for another bat or another arm, show the fan base and the rest of the league that this team is serious about winning. I'll be here breaking down every move, every rumor, every piece of news as it develops. So make sure you're subscribed, hit that notification bell, and drop a comment letting me know what you want to see the Blue Jays do next. Should they prioritize bringing back Bo? Should they go after Marte? What's your dream scenario for this offseason? Let's talk about it down below. Thanks for watching, and as always, let's go Blue Jays.